And now, joining us now to discuss this issue further is Mr. Ahmad Shahidov from the Azerbaijan Institute of Democracy and Human Rights. Mr. Shahidov, thank you for joining us.
Hello, greetings from Baku.
Good, sir. Thank you so much. First of all, the burning question everybody wants to know is, why is Armenia attacking civilians?
Yes, as you mentioned, the Armenian armed forces fired today on the city of Ganja, the largest city of Azerbaijan. And by the way, Ganja is 70 kilometers far from Nagorno-Karabakh, and shelling the Ganja by Armenia is next war crime. And delivering fire on Azerbaijan from the special territory of Armenia is provocative and expands the zone of hostilities. And military and war crimes of the Armenian political leadership continue today, and Armenian armed forces launched missile attacks against residential areas in Ganja, Fizuli, Tartar, and Jabrail regions of Azerbaijan, and unfortunately some civilians were killed and injured due to these crimes by Armenia. And this is happening not today, because in recent days Armenia has fired more than 10,000 different types of shells and missiles at densely populated Azerbaijani settlements, and more than 500 private homes were destroyed or several were damaged. And in general, in military operations, combatants and civilians, military facilities and civilian facilities.
So what do you think is the purpose of the recent attack? Does Armenia want to switch the front line of the tensions?
The purpose of Armenia of shelling of Azerbaijani civilians is to involve the third parties, third countries, especially Russia, Iran and other European countries, and they wish these countries to be involved in this conflict.
So isn't it kind of contradictory that Armenia has been accusing countries like Turkey of becoming third parties in this conflict, whereas they are specifically doing that exact thing by trying to involve Russia or Iran or other world powers into this conflict? Is that not correct?
You know, no, it's false. It's false. And yesterday, in his address to Armenian people yesterday, the Armenian Prime Minister voiced his traditional lies and slander, because Nikol Pashinyan, who is trying to justify his aggressive policy and turn the Armenian people into a victim of this policy, is far from taking steps to restore peace in the region. And because ignoring the illegal presence of the Armenian armed forces in Nagorno-Karabakh and surrounding regions of Azerbaijan, and the demands of the international community, including UN Security Council resolutions, to end the occupation, the current Armenian leadership, on the one hand, continues to cover up its aggressive policy by adding completely unfounded religious elements to the issue, and on the other hand, leads its people to disaster. And yesterday, the Armenian leadership repeatedly said about Turkey's involvement in regional operation has only one purpose: to involve third parties in the conflict, because Azerbaijan again reminds that the Azerbaijani army is sufficiently prepared to restore its territorial integrity within its international borders, and has been carrying out counterattacks to prevent any Armenian aggression since September 27, following Article 51 of the UN Charter. As for the absurd views of the Armenian Prime Minister, Armenian authorities on the policy of so-called genocide against Armenians, we underline that unlike Armenia, which committed war crimes against the Azerbaijani population, crimes against humanity, and the Khojaly genocide, the Azerbaijani side responds to these attacks in compliance with international humanitarian law and does not target civilians. And there is no Turkish involvement in this conflict, but Armenian side tries to spread this false information about the Turkish involvement in Nagorno-Karabakh, about the participation of Turkish soldiers in these clashes, and by this way Armenia tries to to invite or to ask any support from his somehow the French country and from his some European countries, but there is no evidence for that any Turkish soldiers are in Karabakh. Azerbaijan army is quite prepared and strong to restore its territorial integrity, and only Azerbaijan army launched this large-scale operation in its territory. And
so how will Azerbaijan respond to the attacks?
Azerbaijan armed forces are fighting on their sovereign soil to restore its territorial integrity within its internationally recognized borders. And every step taken by the Armenian leadership to cover up its direct responsibility for the region's current situation is doomed to failure. And adequate measures against the enemy will continue. And already the bases around the city of Khankandi were destroyed, and Azerbaijani army.
All right, Mr. Shahidov, thank you so much.
Armenia to obey international law norms and principles. At the same time, Azerbaijani army continues counter-offensive operations and continues to liberate occupied Azerbaijan territories.
All right, Mr. Ahmad Shahidov, thank you so much for joining us. We will be speaking to you again as the situation develops further.